Cool. I think let's get started, guys. So this week with the code editor, I have done some changes. So please try it again and let us know if you face any changes. Like Saurav and Suchitra, like you can know anyone like if there is any challenges that you face. But earlier, like there is a 5 minute timeout that I was keeping if people don't use it. But now, like even if you don't do anything, it will stay for 15 minutes idle. So you can use it and let us know in the chat if you face any challenges. Okay, so let's get started. So last week we did operators. Just a second. Just give me a second. So last week we looked at different type of operators, and this week, like any questions till now on whatever challenges you guys faced last week, any queries? We did operators, if else conditions, for loops. So there are any questions and queries, we can discuss those right now. Just a second. Okay, so last week we did a few things. For example, operators, and after operators, we also learned about conditional operators. We learned about Boolean operators. Okay, anyone knows what are the conditional operators? Guys, what are the conditional operators?
Less than, equal to, greater than equal to.
Right, that's great, Suyog, Suyash. Cool. So we just saw that plus, greater than, equal to operators, not equal to operators. All of this are part of the conditional operators, which helps us really well in terms of if else conditions, while conditions, in all of those situations. Boolean operators are just like true and false. These operators are and, or all of this, and there are like different operators which we saw. We also learned about the branching statements, which is like conditional statements again, which is if, else, elif. After that, we also learned about the looping statements for and while. So these are the things which we learned in our last session. Now going further, in this session, we are going to learn about very important part of Python, which is the sequences. Okay? we will learn about different type of sequences. Python is very popular for this sequences. Anyone knows what are the sequences? What are different type of sequences available? Any idea? So these are list, tuple, sets, dictionary, and string. These are the very well known and important type of sequences present within the Python ecosystem. Now let's start with the first one, and which is very widely used one in the case of Python. So first is a list. So list has is just a sequence of any type of data. Okay, it's an ordered collection of items which can be of any type. It's a basically an ordered collection. When you store something, for example, we can store values like, let's say, fruits, apple, banana, chickpea. So this sequence will be retained. Now, when I say fruits, it will show the list. And we can also check the type. It's always important that you check type to understand what type of values it is storing. It will help you in your learning to understand what type of value is being stored. Okay, so these are the important list. So lists can also store different numbers, kind of a thing. For example, ages. Last time we saw that, okay, this is 18 years, 20, 21. Lists do not have to be just any one data type. Like data type, when I say above, you see a list of string. But string list only doesn't have to be one data type. It can also contain other data types. Like it can also contain string. It can also contain a string. So lists do not have any limits on what type of variables it can store inside. If we check, it will have all the different type of data types. Okay. Now there is a one more data type. Let's understand that, and we will get deeper into this. This is tuple. We'll first go deep into these two, and then we will learn about the others. So tuples has slightly a different structure of definition. Tuples are usually used to store data that is fixed in nature, that do not change. It's called as the immutable data. Immutable means once you assign it, you cannot make any changes to the list. It could be, for example, the days in a week. For example, you have Monday changes. So tuples are defined with this round brackets. Lists are defined with this square brackets. This is how Python gets to know what you are defining. So with the square brackets you are defining, we say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the tuples are always defined with this round brackets. Now we discussed about a concept called as mutable and immutable. Okay, so the thing is, once you define the list and tuple, this list can be changed. Means we can add elements to it, remove elements from it, make any changes to the inside values. But in the tuple, it is a one-time definition. This is mostly used for situations where your data is not going to change. For example, in our case here, this day of weeks are never going to change. There is never a eighth day of the week going to come, or any one day out of this is going to be removed. like the months in a year, or sometimes there could be departments in a company. So these kind of some things which could be fixed in nature, which will not change, those we define with the total. So that is the definition. We will see like how this immutable and mutable structure plays an situation here. Last week we learned that we can use for loops to iterate through the elements. Okay, so for loop we can use to go through the values one by one. So that is one way to go through these values in a sequence or this list. Any kind of a sequence we can use for loop to go through, like for fruit in fruits, print fruit. So when we do this, you can see that the values are coming one by one. We can see the values, we can do any kind of operations on these values and check the things. So that is the one basic nature of any kind of a sequences. In the same way, I can go through the day of the week for day and day one a week, print day. So as we can see, we can just print through each of them. Now day here is single values out of the sequences that we are going through. It's like you're going through a playlist of songs. Let's say you have a 10, 20 songs list you have, and through that list you're going one by one, and you're trying to play those songs one by one, right? So within the for loop, you'll define a code to play those songs, and loop is going to iterate through one by one list. It's also like you have a list of attendees in an event and you are trying to check one by one. You have a list already defined for all the attendees, and within the loop, you try to go through one by one list elements. Now, let's see the other important part. We will do this and then you can try it out. Okay, so let me cover first few things and then I'll allow you to try it out. So the next thing is indexing. Indexing means once we have defined this data, how do we access it now? Like one is a for loop, you can go through every possible element. But let's say you don't want to go through all the elements. You just want to pick one out of it or two out of it, or you want to create a condition, what all you want to pick out of it. So if you want to do that, we have a structure called as indexing. So let me define the basic syntax of indexing. It is the start index colon end index. We define the end index, but it is always going to be -1 of the end index. Okay, you provide whatever end index you want, you provide +1 to it here. Last is the jump. Okay, we will see this one by one. Now in the case of this ages, okay, let's go through this ages and we will see. Let me print it here. So we want to pick, let's say, the first element. These two are optional. Okay, this one is mandatory, or any one of it is mandatory, but at least one should be there. I can say 0. So 0 with the square brackets is going to give me the first value. Okay, let me keep this here for our reference. So 0, as you can see, the index starts with 0. In programming languages, many of the programming languages, the general strategy that is followed is the index starts with 0. In the same way, within Python, the index starts with 0. You can same way go and check the 1. Okay, and like we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I go to 4, I'll get this next value. If I try 5, what do you think will happen? Any idea what would happen? Mhm. No error. Okay, the error says list index out of range. As I always told you, look at this last line. It will give you what does the error basically mean. So in this case, we are saying the list index out of range. So this range here that we have given is out of the existing range, that is 0 to 4. Okay, and we are going out of it. That is the error. So like this, we can do the one value indexing. Now let's see how do we pick multiple values. Now let's say we just want to pick these two. Okay, we want to pick these two. What we can do is I'll put a comment here, single value indexing. Now ages, we saw the structure that start index and end index plus 1. Now what does this mean? I want to fetch 20 and 21. This means we want to start at 1 colon. So now this value is end index for us, so 0, 1, 2. Now 2, but as I said, we have to keep plus 1. So this will be 3. We'll always give plus 1. We see that 20 and 21 we are able to fetch as an outcome from this. So this is the indexing where we are able to pick the multiple values. Okay, so like this we can do different things. We can do 0. Okay, now let me also show you what does this last part jump basically mean. Ages. So now one interesting thing, as I said, not all of it is mandatory. At least one of all of the three should be there. Okay, like if you want to do specific filtering, I can put both of this colon. It means I want to go through all the list. Okay, I want to go through all the list. This 2 colons means I don't want to provide any start. I don't want to provide any end. I just want to provide the jump. So to do that, I will add jump of 2. So with jump of 2, can someone tell me what is happening? Can you guys tell me what is happening here when we did this jump of 2?
Will it go to his third index directly?
Who said what happened?
Will it go to the third index directly after the jump to?
Right. So, right, so you. So what happened here is it went to the third index because we have this plus 2. So it is doing a skip of it. So when we are saying 0, the next one is 0 plus 2. Again, after that, this is now 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. So it is doing that jump of this much value. So if I keep only 1, it will not make any difference because it is only doing a jump of 1. That is normal behavior. By default, it is 1. If I keep it to 2, what will happen is it will do this like going for skipping one value. And if I make it to 3, this is doing a skip of 3. So now you see that after 21, it is going to 32.23. Okay, so that's how this data, this indexing structure is used to identify what values we do want to pick. So I would now give you guys a task, try it out everyone. So one is we define a list of, let's say, we can define a list of animals. Okay, tiger, uh, rat, cat, dog, elephant, and let's keep one bird. So anything you can take it. What I want you guys to do is, any question?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, go on.
Uh, the single indexing which you showed that ages of 5 will give us error.
Right, when we're going out of bounds.
But like if indexing is starting from zero, then at zeroth position it is 18,
right?
first position 20, second position uh,
21.
21, third position is 32, fourth is
This is 4.
this fourth is okay, that is 32.23.
Oh,
Okay,
this is point.
okay,
Yes, yes. This is point
I have
actually.
taken commas. Okay, okay.
Comma. Right.
My bad. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why
Maybe
I
it was
thought
not.
why it will give error. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
Good try, but Suyesh. That's a good
Yeah.
try you have done. Good work. Okay, so great. So that's how we see this is the decimal, and that's what I was showing that it can store multiple data types. Okay, these are different data types. Now, one interesting thing I would like to also add is if you add a type here to this, I'll make it I'll make it to 4, and if you do this 2, the type is going to be int, not list.
Yeah.
Okay, because now it is going to that specific value. But when we are doing this multiple values, if we check the type, what will happen here is it will be a list. Okay, that's how like it is going for one by one values, you get actually to that value. The root value which is present, you get to that. But when we are doing this multi-value indexing, we will still get to the list as a outcome from it. That is the goal here. Okay, so you all should try now. The other thing is, I'll say pick first is like only pick cat. The first task is pick cat. Second task is pick these three animals. Pick rat, cat, and dog. And then last is pick rat, dog, and crow. Okay, Ratish and Saurabh will be checking you guys. So do this part. Try this thing. Okay, everyone should try it. Okay. Once you're done, let me know the outcome. Then I will try. Or you can put your outcome in the chat. Okay, let's take 2 minutes, 1 more minute, and then we will move on. Yeah, if anyone facing any issues with the kernel and any other issues, please let know Saurav and Ratish. Okay, so let me do it now. So first one is going to be, let me first define the animals. First is the pick cat, that is 2. Okay, because 0, 1, and 2. That's how we get the cat. Next is animals. we want to pick rat, cat, and dog. This is 1. Okay, from 1 we start, 2 and 3. What will happen? Do you think this is right? Will this work? What would be the right thing here? Is it right what I'm doing?
It will be 4, I guess.
It will be 4. Great, Suyo. So this is going to be 4. So once we run this, we see this outcome. And then next is, now here we want to start from rat. So what
It
is
will be
it going to be?
162.
Right, that's very good. So 1, 6, and 2. So one interesting part here is even if you skip the 6, it will still work because you're saying I just want to go till the end. Okay, so when you want to go till the end, you can skip this. And when you want to do from the start, even you can skip this. That's what we did in the last example. So this is how it will work. Okay, great. So now let's move on to the next part. Now that was slicing. Okay, this is the indexing, and this is called as a slicing because we are trying to slice this to some level, and this is only we are going to do the indexing. So this part is called as slicing. Now let's have a look at, I mentioned that lists have this capability where we can add elements to them, add, remove, we can do multiple things to them. So one thing to check what all features, let's first do add and then we will check the other things. So to animals, let's say I want to add. So we can use this append function. I can say zebra. Okay, just ran, just didn't say anything. So we can just run animals and we can see that zebra is added to the list. Okay, so this is append. And next is, let's say we want to remove. Okay, we want to remove rat out of this. And if I check it now, you see that rat is not available. Okay, like this, we have many different functions which are available, which helps us to make changes to this list. If you want to check all the possible functions which are present, you can do this help. Okay, when you do help on this, you get this big list of all the possible functions which are present that can be applied on the list. We cannot cover all of it, but we will take some of this. For example, in this case,
Mm.
yeah, so in this case, what we have is this functions which are starting with this double underscore and ending with the double underscore, these you can ignore. These are internally used functions which are part of Python. Okay, you only have to check the functions which are not starting with the double underscore. Now here we see the ones with the without double underscore. Any questions? Okay, Jayant, I'm muting you if you don't have a question. Okay, so append is the function that we saw. It also come with the description that append object to the end of the list. Clear will remove all the values from your existing list. Copy is just so that you can create a new copy and keep your original copy as it is. Then if you want to count the specific values present within your list, you can use the count. For example, we create a numbers list 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 4 and 6, 7. Okay, if we do this, for example, when we say nums dot count 1 and go to the top, we see that it is saying there are two ones. Okay, this we can store it as a variable outcome and we can do any kind of operations on it. Let's say you have a list of people, maybe event attending people who all have attended event, like multiple past events, and you check that, okay, are there any people who have attended multiple events? So you can check those, check the count, and then do any kind of operations on them. Like that we can use this data. So like this we have many different functions which I would suggest you should see and understand. Okay, because there are n number of functions. There's count, there is extend. If you want to add one more list to this list, this can be used as a extend. Index is used to find the specific data. Count is one thing, but if you want to just validate whether there is certain data present in your list or not, we can use the index method. Okay, we'll go through it and we will also try index. These are the functions which are highly used. That's what I will show them. Insert at a specific location, pop from the specific location. Like you can mention the remove you use to remove a certain specific object from the list. You specify what you want to remove. With pop, you specify from where you want to remove. Okay, insert and pop works in a similar way. With insert, you specify where you want to add, in which location. Pop will say where you want to remove from. So like this, there are different functions, reverse, sort. So you will see some tutorial, the assignments and quizzes which would be relating to this, where you have to
Voice
use
is not
this
audible.
documentation and understand what to do with those. Okay, that is what would be expected from you.
Hello.
Questions? Yeah. So Suyesh, you have a question?
Hello.
Yeah, Suyesh, go on. Hello, Suyesh, can you hear me? Okay, so we will see the index and insert pop. Let's have a look at these three methods from the list. So from the nums, I can say index and give me the 4, like where is 4. In our case, there are two different 4s available, but it will give me only the first one. Okay, but there is again a separate method available within index which can tell you that from where you want to search for, from which location after you want to search for. Then nums.insert, this is going to modify your data. And if you want to also check sometimes what is the syntax to use the insert, you can add help. Okay, you can add this help here, run, and it shows you that, okay, these are the elements which it requires: index and object that you want to insert. It says, hello. Okay, so this says that, okay, where you want to insert the object. So I can just remove this. I get to see, okay, this is where okay, this is fine. So I'll just remove it. So insert, it says first is where you want to add, let's say 3, and we want to add 10. We do that, and then we check the nums again. So now we see that at 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, we have this 10 added to the data. Okay, others got shifted further. And then in the same way, we can use pop to specify that I want to remove this number. So pop has this function where it will also return what was there on that location which you removed. We can say popped num Okay, once we run this, I can check the nums again. So the 10 that we added got actually removed. The num got removed, and I can also look at this pop number, which is 10. So many times, like you want to say that remove this one by one, you remove it, and then you do some operations on it. So pop, if you don't specify anything, it will add it to the end of your list. Okay, it will add to the end of your list. Any questions? Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay, cool. So this is what about lists we have. Now let's have a look at the tuple. What all we can do with the tuple. We'll check the help of the tuple that we have. If you do this, now with tuple, what you will see is we'll come down where there is no double equal to, and we see that there are only two functions. Okay, one is count and one is index. So with count and index, there are no methods which would allow it to be changed. As I mentioned at the start, these are like immutable objects, which means we cannot make any modifications to the existing list of elements. Okay, with respect to list, we can do that because that is mutable in nature. So tuples are defined in a way which are like constants, which once defined cannot be changed. We can only look at some information, that is how many values of certain type are available, at what location they are available. So these kind of things we can check, but we cannot make any changes to the values. Okay, so for example, the days in a week, we can also do the same indexing and slicing within this. Okay, same indexing slicing can be done in this. We can get the values, single values, 1 to 4. Slicing we can do, indexing slicing, both are available within this. Okay, the square bracket and the list square bracket, don't confuse it. Okay, the list square bracket is purely at the definition time where you say equal to square bracket and put the values inside, and these are only for the indexing and slicing, which is only after the variable name. Okay, these are only after the variable name. Okay, and within this days in a week, if we try to, well, there is no append method. If I try to save this, it will give me an error that there is no attribute like this. Append kind of a structure is not at all allowed within this thing. Okay, and we can do count of, in our case we can say Monday. Okay, this says there is one count, and we can also do index. It is 0 and it's coming at the first place. But if I say Friday, it's coming at the fourth place. Okay, now what we can do is, so there is one more thing which I didn't say about the list, is we can make changes to the values by directly assigning them. Okay, one thing is, let's say we have, first of all, let's go to the ages. Okay, I'm again switching back to the list, and within the list we can pick the 0 element. We can make some changes here. Let's say I want to change 18 to 10. I do this and then check the ages. As you can see, we have 10 here. Okay, we can see that 10 got assigned in place of 18. This we can do with the list. But if we do the same thing within this, change 0 to, like, let's say full this way Monday. Says that tuple object does not support item assignments. Okay, as you can clearly see here, it says that the tuple object does not allow creating the item assignment. That's how this tuple and item are different. They're very same in the nature of storing the data. They both store the data, but the difference is the tuples are specifically made for storing a data that should not change over the future, and lists are made for data that should change over the future. You can modify, twist, change. You can do everything with respect to the list. Questions?
Can you repeat what actually help function does? Miss? I didn't get because my connection was lost, and the nums part also I missed a bit.
Okay, Suyesh.
Yeah,
Sure.
sorry for that, but I was not getting voice, so I just logged out and logged in again.
That's a no problem at all.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
will explain again. So you're saying nums, and what is the other part?
Help function, help function.
Help function. Okay. See, basically, I'm ready to explain, guys, anytime if you want. That's completely fine. I can do multiple times. So nums is we just defined a list here. So this list we defined, and help function allows us to identify what all different type of operations we can do on this object. The type of this nums is a list. So it says help on list object. There are two ways to get the help. One is nums, and other is directly putting an object here. Okay, we can directly put the object type, which is list, and then we get to see that all the possible methods which are supported on this. So here, once we start at this point with double underscore, you should ignore this double underscore starting functions. They are internally used by Python. They are internally used, so we should not use it. There is always a other approach to use it. So we see that this is the append method. It also gives you the description. Append object to the end of the list. Clears out all the elements from it. Copy just creates a new copy so that you can keep your original copy intact and assign it to a different variable which can be used later on. Count, return the number of occurrences of a value. Extend. So all of these are like different type of operations which are allowed on the object. Okay, Suyesh?
Yeah, the double underscore functions we should not use because
Right.
that is outside functions, not internal to Python.
So those are internal to the Python. Just a second. Give me a second.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey guys, sorry, there was someone on the door.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, Shaz, the double underscore based functions, they are internal to the Python. So they are available, but we should not use them. Only the ones which are starting with double, without starting the double underscore, we should use them. Yeah, is that clear?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Just these are like you get the description of all of it, and I would suggest everyone to go through this whole list, because once you go through this whole list, you will get to know what all different operations are allowed. And anytime you feel that okay, this operation you have to do, you know this is possible. So we have just seen some of it, but if you want to go through all of it, you should go through this list. Great. You want to see these functions running through it, or you already understood this part?
And the line number for 47, if we run it multiple times, so it's going to append the same value again and again, right?
at the
After
same
next,
place.
yeah,
Keep on shifting that same number
toward
again
right side.
from that place. Yes, from the to the right side, and we'll keep on adding to that number. Yeah, that's absolutely right, Sio. Cool. So yeah, should we go ahead? Any more
Okay.
questions? Cool, guys. Thank you. That's good. Guys, I'm ready anytime to explain multiple times, so please be open to ask. You just have to ask. I'll be able to do that. Cool. So now let's move on to the next function, the next type of sequence. The next type of sequence is also very important that we have seen to some time, that is strings. You're seeing strings at a very basic level, but strings are very complex in nature. You can do lot of different type of operations on the string because they are very highly used now. Nowadays, you may hear a lot about NLP and all of this chat GPT and all of these things. All of it is purely like string operations. Like all of it starts with the string. The basics itself to all of this is the string based operations. So this is the very core important thing. Even if you try to use ChatGPT through the APIs, the majority of the operations that you would require is doing the string operations on the data. So that's why strings are very important to learn. So strings, one is, let's say, a welcome message. Hello, welcome dash. Okay. Now this is a pure string. Let's say we run it, go to the top. Now this is the string. We know the type and all works on this with the string. Now strings also have the different type of functions available. But one thing, do you guys remember the difference between single quote, double quote, triple quote? Can anyone tell me? Who can tell me what was the difference? Yes, you. So you want to say the difference? Anybody else? Okay, if nobody's saying, then I'll skip that part. Okay, so let's move on.
Single if you want to print uh, a value with a single quote, then inside single quote we can use that value to put in double quote, and then it will print.
Yeah, that's perfectly right, Suyash.
Yeah.
Good work. So, yes, like double quote and single quote are simple in nature. Inside you want to use single quote, you can use outside double quote. Out inside you want to use double quote, you can outside use the
You have to
single
put single.
quote. Right. Triple quote has a special benefit that you can do a multi-line string with the triple quote. The single quote and double quote you cannot do multi-line string, but with triple quotes you can do multi-line string. When you have a big text and you want to copy paste that, you can use the triple quotes like paragraph kind of structures. Okay, so going ahead, now let's have a quick, before we go into the functions, let me also show you some important part. Okay, let's say we are creating welcome message. Now I want to add this Python to this welcome message function. So to do that, what we can do is we will define it again with slightly different structure first. There is a thing called as a f strings within Python. F strings allow you to format your strings. Okay, with the main format is I can add name to this. Okay, and we will run all of it together. What you see is Python got appended inside. So this is the formatting. Like when you have different type of variables, let's say you're taking name of the user from the input, and then you want to append that input message to the function. For example, rather than this, I will try it now with input. Okay, I'll comment this, and when we run this, if I say Rishikesh, so now you see that I got this message. Like this formatted strings can be used to do a complex string where you have multiple variables, not just one variable. You can have multiple variables which can be added to this. I can say, I welcome Rishikesh to the session. Now here I can add session equal to Python basics. Okay, so if I run this now, the whole thing will play out. So as you can see, the Rishikesh, Python basics, all of it got appended to the string. Like you had just a basic string, which is like a template. You have this template, and within this template, you're trying to fill the values. The input doesn't have to be just the strings, it can also have any type of data type. Even within this, you can put a list and it will work out. For example, Python basics, advanced Python, data analytics. So all of this can work out. So as you see, the list as it is coming here. There are ways to deal with that. We will see later on. But this is how the formatted strings are very important. Now there are different ways to define the formatted strings within Python. I will not go into the others because fstring is the most efficient one that came out within the recent some years back within Python. This is the most important one. There are other structures. I'll just go through one more, which is the percentage format. Okay, we will go with the format dot format. Any questions? Okay, let's have a look at one more to do the same thing with dot format. We can just change it to, like we can remove this F also, we need to remove this name, remove from here, and format. This you will put the name comma session variable. Okay, so this is also one more way to do the same thing. Okay, this is the same way. You just define this blocks and you keep it outside. But this is not more readable in nature. Whereas this one is more readable. When you read it, you get to know that okay, this is name, this is session. So this is more readable. Whereas in this case, you have to see at the outside and now you match this one, this one, this one, this one. It's good to know because some of the code you will see in this format. But while creating new code, always prefer this F strings, which are much more better. Now let's look at the functions which are allowed within strings. To that we will do help str. And I hope you're also coding together with me, but anytime you feel that I should stop and you want to code something that I'm also coding, I'm happy to do that. I will stop if you want to code what I'm doing. Okay, anytime you want to do that, please stop me. So you want me to stop and you guys want to try this? Yes, no? Is it good to go ahead?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thanks for you. So I'll, yeah. Okay, so this is the, if we go with the help str, with string there are n number of functions available. We'll just skip this double underscore. We will go ahead and we'll see that there are just lot of different functions. So capitalize. this function will always provide a capital output, you a string that has the first character capitalized. If you give it a string, the first character it will return. If it is not already capitalized, it will make it uppercase and provide you the output. Returns a version of the string suitable for caseless comparison. So it will make the string centered. This will do some formatting. And if you have like a length of 10, you want to fix the length to 10. A second. Yeah. So here, like we will try this. I just listed down which we will try. This is center. Um, okay, this is center, and so count is something we've already seen. It is very similar. The count will count the characters, and then encode is a type of encoding which currently you don't have to know, but there are like different encoding structures. There are ASCII, there is UTF, there are the different type of encoding methods available which we can encode with. This will be slightly advanced into the strings. Okay, we can check whether certain string ends with certain prefix. Okay, let's have a look at this. So as I said, like there are just n number of functions. There is a find. You want to find whether certain substring is present within the full string. You can use this find format we have already seen. Index as an example we have already seen with the list. So you understand that we can provide a string and it will give us an index of that string, like where it is present. These functions are also very important part of the strings. Is alum is whether your string is contains alphabetic and numerals. Okay. Is alpha is whether your string only contains whether it is only containing alphabet. It doesn't contain numbers. It will return true and false. Is ASCII will tell you whether only ASCII based characters are present. No special characters are present. Is decimal. So all of these are like different. Is digit is only whether the digits are present. So with respect to string, there are different type of functions available. One more important function we will see is split. Okay, so split is also very important function. So let's have a look at this. As I said, there are like lot of functions which are present. I would highly suggest you guys that you should go through this list and understand them so that whenever you face any string based operations, you know that okay, this kind of operation is already present as part of Python functions. You don't have to implement it by yourself. Okay, so let's have a look at this welcome message. Not this one. Let's do this name. Okay, now this name I want to use center, not center. And if you want to check, okay, what is even I don't remember the syntax of all the functions. It is always that you have to check what is the syntax. You can always go and do help and you get to know that this is how it is. So it is not important that you have to remember or by heart these things. As you keep on doing this multiple times, you will remember the functions which you need more. Okay, let's say 50. And in this case, filchar we will not put anything. See that the string is starting here and the string is here. It has filled it with blank spaces. We can also add it with like the filchar directly added star. So we see that this is how we see this string getting added. So this is the center method. Ends with like let's go with welcome message. Welcome message. If you say ends with right now, if you see it ends with comment some people here. Sorry, I'll mute some people here. So if you see, I'm asking it whether this welcome message, which contains data like this, ends with session or not. This is true. Now, as you know, having this true and false allows us to use if else conditions. We can do some conditioning operations. We say that, okay, if a string contains, like ends with this string, you do this kind of operation. If it doesn't ends with this, you do this kind of operation. So like this, we can do this operation. The example is, let's say you are reading a text file, and from that text file, you only want to pick the content of files which ends with certain string. So there you can just go through every file, you read it, and you check at the end of the content whether it ends with something, and then only you choose it. So like that, you can create the programs here. Is alnum, as the name says, it checks for the alphabetic and numerals. So as you can see, the outcome of this is false. Do you know why? Why would this be false? What do you think? Why this would be false? As you see the name, it says alphabetic and numeric. Based on that, why do you think it would be false? Any idea? No? So this is false because this one is only alphabetics. This does not contain any numerics. As you can see the string, this does not contain any numerics and it only contains the alphabets. That's why this is alphabet but not the numeric. It is false. And if I check only like alpha, is alpha, it will also come false because now there are some special characters which are part of this, which it will make say that okay, this is not alpha, but I can check this one to see whether it is alpha. Name comes as true because names, it only contains the string and alphabets. That's why you see this as true. So this is also used like when you are doing some string or string processing, and you see that okay, there are any numbers present. Is this like a junk kind of a data? Do you expect a string based data, alphabets based data? So all of this can be used. For example, you're trying to process and let's say PAN card number, and within PAN card you want to check whether it is a digit or not. It only contains digits. So not the PAN card, sorry, but the Aadhaar card. With PAN card, you'll go with alphanum first. You check that okay whether it's a alphabetic and numeric combination, and then you will go and check further things. But your simple check can be done to see whether it is a alphanumeric string. Split is also useful function. You see, it has given the outcome in this format. Okay, with the split, it has split the whole string based on the space. What do you think would be the data type of this thing? What is the data type here? Do you see anything that we recently learned?
List.
Yes, that's very right. It is the list. Okay, so this is like when you do the split, it has converted this into a list. Now, once you have it as a list, you can do any kind of operation on it. You can store the outcome as a list, which is message split. If I just give it a name as message split, we can do different kind of operations. I can pick only B1 to 5. Okay, like this, you can do operations on top of it. All of these things gets connected here. You have the list outcome. Like for example, you are loading a CSV data. CS with a comma separated data. You load that as a string, you split it by the comma, and then you see it as a list and you can do different operations on top of it.
It has created a nested list.
Sorry?
The when you used welcome message dot split, it has created a nested list.
Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, so here, what is really happening is, so yes, the thing is, if you see this outcome, it is starting with this double quote, ending with the double quote, and inside it is a single quote. Now, what do you think this is?
It also
So
has a
yes,
square bracket.
yeah. So square bracket here, is this like outside or inside the quotes?
inside the quotes.
Inside the quotes.
Inside the quotes, right, Arun? So yes. So this is not a nested list right now. What really happened
Okay.
here? This welcome message, this bracket that you see is not a list, but this is part of a string. Okay. Here Python is not recognizing this as a list. Python is treating this whole thing as a string itself. So when we split this individual things, because we are splitting only on the space, and that's why based on the space, this much of a part got separated because these two were combined together. And then there was a space, so this part got separated. And then even like if you see the single quote and this commas inside it have also become part of the string. Are you getting
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
So this
Got
is
it.
not a
Thank
listed list in this case. That's
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
good. Okay, so we have got this. But yeah, just one thing I would like to add is nested lists are also possible. Okay, we can create a list inside a list. As the topic has come, I'll just say this, that you can have, so this is called as a nested list. Okay, I'll just keep it as a num, and if you run this, have this nested list, and if you try to get this indexed, you get the outcome as a list in itself. So here this is being stored as a nested list, but in our case, as it was a string, it was not being stored as a nested part of a string. Okay, so this is how the
Yeah.
strings are. We saw the formatting of the string. We saw how to do different type of operations on the string, and we can also do indexing directly on the string, indexing and slicing both directly on the string. So for example, so this string is basically a list of characters. In nature, a string is a list of characters. So I can say 0. If I say 0, you give me H. If I say 10 to 20, it gives us this outcome, which is truncated version of this much of a part. Okay, so strings, that's why we call strings also as the sequences, because they also follow this same type of structure where we can do the indexing and slicing. Same way you can also add this jump part, which will just make the character changes. Okay, so all of that applies here. Okay, now let's try one more thing. If I do this and assign it a small h, can you guys try this? Whoever is working with the code, can you guys try this and let me know what would happen here if we do this? Yeah, please let me know what would happen. Can someone tell me? You can do any string. Just take a simple string and try to do the 0 and do an assignment and let me know what happens. Who can tell me? Yes, Arun.
It's getting to assign foreign zero value.
It's getting assigned.
Foreign string zero.
See, it will give an error.
Okay.
So are you doing with the string or you're doing to numbers?
I'm doing with a string.
With the string 0, is it working?
No.
No, right?
I'm also getting the
It's
same error,
correct.
but I thought it was assigning it for the value.
No. So what is happening here is it says str object does not support item assignment. The same message we have seen sometime back with respect to tuple. So we said that tuples cannot be changed, they are immutable. Okay, this mutable and immutable is a very important part. Where we say that mutable means it can be changed, like individual elements of it can be changed. But with string, once it is assigned, we cannot do a direct change to it. Okay, we cannot do a direct change to this strings. That is a challenge. But we can do different operations, create a new string out of it, but we cannot do changes to the existing string like indexing, slicing, we can do, but we cannot do any type of assignment to it. So understand that strings are also immutable in nature. If someone asks you this question whether strings are mutable and immutable, strings are immutable. They cannot be directly changed. Okay, I hope that is clear. But if you guys ask me, yeah, Ron, you have a question?
No, I said okay. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So if you say that, okay, how do I make any changes to this? Now let's say I want to change actually this edge, the first one. What we can do is the hack to do that is we will start from 1 and colon. Now 1 and colon means the first character is removed. We will do H plus. Strings can be concatenated like this. Multiple strings can be concatenated together like this, and now I have this H. I can reassign it back to the hello world, hello message. Okay, we said that the welcome message individual values within that we cannot change, but we can change the whole welcome message in itself. Okay, the thing is we can change the whole welcome message in itself. The whole message we got changed, but we cannot change the individual values. That is the trick. Any questions on this? This could be a bit confusing, but if you have any questions, please ask it. Okay, so we will move ahead. So the next part is basically to understand that the one more function, which is a very important function with all of the sequences, list, tuples, even the further things which we will see, is the length function. Okay, length function is an important function to find out how many elements are there within that. In this case, length of num, there are 4 elements. This is 1, 2, 3, and this one is treated as a 4th element, as a single element. With respect to string, if we want to check length, okay, with respect to string, we can say welcome message. And we see that there are 94 characters which are present within the string. Even within the week, days in a week, You can check there is a 7 element. So this length function, one thing you see here is this length function we are not adding after the variable but before the variable. This value is part or argument to this function rather than calling the function outside. The different functions that we have seen till now is we did num dot or we did welcome message dot. So we saw many messages, many functions like that. But in this case, length is outside, and then we are keeping num as a inside and then getting the count. Okay, so this length function plays a very important role. We can do different type of operations. For example, I can say if length of days in a week is greater than 100, then we can say uh, length not allowed or something like that. You can control that, saying that okay, this much of it is there is some problem. So here it is not greater than 100, but if I say 90 because it was 94, this will let us check this again. Oh, I'm doing it. Like I had to put this. So it says that okay, length not allowed. So like this, using this length, we can take certain actions on this data. Cool. So let's look at the next thing. You guys want to try this or you're able to run this already? Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, so now let's see some more interesting things that we can do with this, all the sequences that we saw right now. Okay, the interesting things is we saw that we can do the concatenations. So let's say there is a num1 list which is 1, 2, 3, and there is a num2 list that is 3, 4, 5. Python allows concatenating this num1 and num2, and we can create a num3. Okay, this list can be concatenated together. Okay, so here we see that this whole list got concatenated together. With using plus, we can combine multiple lists together into one single thing. Here only minus will not work. There is also a way to do the multiplication, but multiplication we won't do with uh, this thing but each other. We cannot do multiplication each other, but num1 multiply by 2. We see that this gets repeated. If I say 3, have this repeated 3 times with the new list. Okay, same thing we can do with respect to the strings also. Two strings we saw earlier here that we can concatenate. This is one string and this is the second string. We can concatenate them into a single string. Then the last is we can also multiply. String also can be multiplied. For example, we can create an interesting string star multiply by 10 plus name. So what we did with the center thing, we can also do it here. Multiply by 10. See, this is just for fun, but as you can see, this got repeated multiple times and it created a one single string out of it. The second string, and this is a third string. So we just concatenated all of these things together. This is sometimes useful, like when you have certain data that you want to replicate multiple times. Okay, with some for some work you want to just replicate it for multiple times. That can be achieved using this structures. So this works with both list and strings here. Even with the tuple, same thing can be done. This plus and multiplication works. Okay, not the minus and divide. Only these two things are available. Those are some additional things. Now let's move on to the next one. Any questions till now? Before we move ahead, we will go on to the dictionaries and sets now. Any questions?
No.
Great. Thank you guys. So let's move on to the dictionaries. Are we going very fast, slow? Any feedback? That would be very helpful. Are you guys with me on what all things we have done till now? Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great, guys. Thanks for the feedback. Cool. So now let's look at the dictionaries. So dictionaries are slightly different from what we saw till now. Okay, the dictionaries are basically a key value pairs. Okay, it is a key value pair. For example, we can say that students equal to, the dictionary starts with this curly braces. All the different types have the symbols by which they start. List start with the square brackets, tuple start with the round brackets, string starts with the single quote, double quotes, triple quotes. Dictionary starts with this curly braces. So here, let's say we have roll number 1 and his name is student 1, or we can say Ramesh. I hope there are no Ramesh in this case, and even if it is not with you, just the sample names. Rajesh, Amal, just some sample names. So what is happening here is this is a key and this is the value. Okay, these are the key and values. So here, once you define it, also check the type. Okay, I always show you the type to see that how it really looks like. As Python do not directly show explicit types, it's good sometimes when you're facing issues to validate what is the actual type. Many times you're stuck with certain variables that okay, why it is not doing certain activity. But you get to know that the type itself is different. So it's good to validate the types. Okay, so now with students, how the indexing really works here is we can directly provide the key. We can provide the key, and based on the key we are able to get the outcome. Okay, as you can see, we have the key and value. So here the indexing of 0 to n minus 1 is not there. Here the indexing of 0 to n minus 1 is not there. We simply have the keys that is present. Okay, in the same way, we can also do it in an opposite way. We can say Ramesh with roll number of 1, Rajesh with roll number of 2, and Kamal with roll number of 3. Okay, now in this case, the indexing would happen with the new keys. That is, now let's say I do it with 1. I've changed the students now. So student, it says that key error. It means that key is not present. I said this is called as a key and this is called as a value. And it says that key error 1, which means key is not found. So we have to do it with Ramesh. And here we can now see the values. So one more thing we can now do is exams. Okay, we can say Ramesh, what is the score that he has gotten the different courses for the 2 semesters. Okay, let's say he has got 60 and 87 in the 2 semesters. Rajesh has got 45 and 60 in the next semester. Kamal has got 57 and 77. So as you can see, we are storing lists as values. So one thing I would like to add is the keys within dictionaries can be any immutable object. Okay, see the word here, it means any immutable object. Values, any data type. Okay, values can be any data type. Now, can you guys list some of the immutable data types that we have seen till now? Which are the immutable data types? Who can tell me what all immutable objects you have seen? Okay, see, we have seen tuple, strings as immutable objects till now. But numbers, int and float are also treated as immutable itself because they are single values. They cannot be changed. Like you have to just change the whole thing. So int and float is also treated as a immutable data. So keys can be anything immutable. Okay, value can be any type of object, list, different object, dictionary in itself. Again, you can have a one more dictionary inside, nested dictionaries. So things like that we can create. So if we try to do an exams here and we say exams done, we see that the values are coming. Now let's do is let's iterate through this value. Before we iterate, let me show you a few things. That is the different functions which are available with the dictionary. As I said, help we can do with two ways. One is a direct object name or the variable itself. Run. We go inside. There are no, there are double quotes, double underscore here we see. And after that, once we go, we see that there is a clear copy, get, items, keys, pop item, and there are some more data here. But we will see some important values out of it. Okay. Now the important ones are get, key, keys, values, and items. These are the important uh, functions which are part of the this thing, the dictionary. So we have seen the indexing part now. Okay, we have seen the indexing, but one thing we have to see now is if let's say the index is not present. Let's say I add Suresh. Okay, so as you can see, it says key error, but I don't want to get any error. I just want to get some default value. Okay, we can do dot get. Get also we can provide this thing. We can still access the data. Okay, only benefit is with get you do not get any error. If the value is present, you get the outcome. If the value is not present, you will get the blank. So we can also provide a default value. Let's say I just want to provide a blank list. Okay, I just want to provide a blank list. So now I got the blank list. This is the default value. If the value is present, you will get the actual outcome. For example, Ramesh. You see that 60 and 87 is returned. But if the value is not present or the key is not present, it will return just a blank thing here. So this is the get function. Next is exams dot keys. So these are all the key values as a list object. Okay, it's like a list object. So we get all the key values. Same way, exams dot values. This we get all the values, the list of values. So this is a list of list because our values are list and this is giving us a list of list. Then exams dot items. You guys tell me what is the data type of this? What do you think is the data type of this? Guys, what is the data type? If you observe this correctly, let me copy paste it above. What do you think is this data type? Just remove this thing and then when we check, can anybody tell me? So this is basically a list of tuple. Okay, a list of tuple. This inside is a tuple, outside is a list. So this is a tuple where you're getting a key value pair, and this is a list. So now we can do for exams, for key in exams, we can create a list out of it, which is keys. Okay, we can do in two ways. One is like directly we can iterate through items, or we can go through this print exams key. We are going through every single key and iterating to this, and you can do also operations. Now let's say you want to sum all of it. Okay, we have an operation that is we can add sum on top of it. A mathematical operation, we can add sum on top of this list to get the sum of all list items. Now you see that this is a sum, or you can say sum divide by length of exams key. What would this be? What would this be? It is a mean. We are calculating the mean. We are taking a sum of all the values. We are taking the length of all the values. So this would return 2 and this would return sum. So we are getting mean for every, like all the students. For every student based on the scores, we are taking the mean. Okay, this is how like we can go through these values, do the different type of operations inside this. Okay, I can simplify it. We can take sum of values is equal to sum of exams key. Okay, this would give you more clarity. Length of values is equal to length of exams key. You can also print both of this, sum of values, length of values, and then at the end we do this int of mean. If I do run this now, what happens is we see every single case. This is sum is 147 and the value is 2, and this is the mean. Sum is 105, length is 2, and the value is this. Like this we are getting through all of these values. Okay, so like we can also do items. We don't have to do just key. With items we will get key value pair. Okay, so if I'll just show you how to use items. So we can say exam in exams, print exam, and when we check this, it will be just the keys. This is just the key, but we can say items. With items we get this combo here, so we can just pick, as it's a tuple, we can do pick exam 0 and exam 1. Like this we can just pick them separately and do any kind of operation. So you can say that print for Ramesh, this is the, so like that we can just print all the information and do any kind of operations on this data. That's how we can work. Questions? Dictionaries are slightly ingrained. We have gone, like we have combined a lot of different things we have learned in this session together. But any questions? Are you guys able to grasp all of it? Guys, yes, no?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, guys. So now this was about dictionary. So dictionary is done. We will now touch on the last part, that is the sets. Sets are simple and interesting data type. Sets are a way by which, do you guys remember sets that you learned in the school time? Anybody remember sets from the school time? What was sets? Like Venn diagram kind of thing.
Set is a collection of similar items.
Collection of similar items. So within that, like when you looked at Venn diagram, you see that okay, there is the intersection,
Yeah, union, intersection.
right? So all of those things which we were able to do, same thing we can do with the sets here. Okay, we can create sets by, like, let's say we can say there are two sets of people, like there are two sets of groups. Okay, or there is a group which has an overlap. For example, we have event 1 and event 2. Let's say people who attended event 1 and people who attended event 2. Now, sets can be defined again with the curly braces. The difference of curly braces with list and, sorry, the dictionary and sets is, with dictionary there are key value pairs, but with sets there are no key value. It is going to be simple numbers. So here again we'll go with, so same, those people, Ramesh, Suresh, Kamal. These are three people here, and then let's say here we have Ramesh, Kamal, and Ajit. These are, and also one more thing, if we do that, okay, let's say Kamal gone out and again joined back. Okay, here also like Ramesh went out and again joined back. There are multiple entries from these people in the same event. Like as they gone back and came again, there are two entries. But when we define the set, what usually happens is we will only see one single copy of it. Okay, even if I have multiple copies of Kamal, it will only provide a single unique collection. Sets are unordered in nature. Sets do not have any kind of an order. Like whatever order you provide, they'll have their own order. So there is no specific order maintained. With list, tuple, dictionary also there is no order impact. But list and tuple, the way you define it, they will be stored in the same structure. Even dictionary are unordered in nature. They will not store the sequence that we are keeping. They can store it in a different sequence. And sets are also unordered in nature, because as you see, Kamal we defined here, Kamal is here, Ramesh we defined first, but it is second, and Suresh. So there is no sequence that is maintained with respect to the sets. Look at the event 2. And here there is no sequence, but there is also repeated elements got combined into one single thing. That's how this thing will work. And if we type help on set, the function types that you will see are usually going to be difference, intersection, is disjoint, subset, is superset, pop, remove if you want to eliminate some of it, difference, union. So as I said, right, kind of a Venn diagram, we can have union, differences on all of it. For example, event 1 dot union event 2. If we do that, what will now happen is we're trying to combine them together and see who all were common people, who all were present in both of these events, like all the whole union list. If you want to identify who all present in both of these events, you can go with intersection. Event 2. See that only Kamal and Rajesh are present in both of these events. Now there is again event 1 dot difference, event 2, who all were present in event 1 which were not in. So Suresh was the only person who was not present as part of event 2. So sets help you to do this kind of analysis when you want to compare two different lists or set of items. You have two different set of items completely, and you want to compare them together and see the possible combinations. Okay, these can also be same things can also be done with like special operations. For example, you want to say that event 1 and event 2. This can also help you to find out who were common between both of them. Like it's like and or kind of operations also can be done here. Event 2 will give you the union of all. You can also do subtract. There's the two ways of doing same thing. Two ways of doing the same thing with the sets. Okay, sets, is it clear? How do they work? Sets are simple in nature but very powerful in certain kind of analysis when you want to do comparison of different data sets. Like you have two different data sets or two different events, and you just want to see, for example, you have customers records of day 1 and day 2, and you want to see who all are present in both day 1 and day 2, who all are common people who were present in day 1 and day 2 also, who were just present in day 1 and who were not present in day 2. Like this, we can do some complex and interesting insight generation out of the sets. Okay, I know guys, lot of things we have covered today, but I hope you all are with me. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, great guys. So now let's do one simple project kind of a thing which will summarize many things that we have learned today. We will do a simple word counter. Okay, let's say we have got a string. Okay, I'll like any type of a string we will see, and we just want to get a count of every possible string, every possible words, unique words which are present within the string. Okay, so let's say we have a string. Again, welcome message. Hello, Python enthusiasts. Welcome to the Python session. Hello again. Okay, I'll do this with like triple quote so that the string is visible to you. I can keep it in the multiple lines. So what we really want to do is just get the unique set of words and also find out the count of each of those words. For example, in this case, hello is coming 2 times, Python is coming 2 times, welcome is coming 1 time, all the others are coming 1 time. Can you guys do this? You want to do this? Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So let's start. I'll like first you guys start. If you're stuck, I'll also help you with like any hints here. But let's take 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes to complete it. Like it is 12:50. Let's. I will start at 12:55. I'll just provide some hints. You can use split. Okay. One is like the important part is the split, which will be very useful to you. You can use set and count. Okay, I'm just giving you what all things you can use, but stitching all of these things together is going to be your responsibility. Okay, so I'm going to start now. So how we can really do this thing is, I have some of you have achieved this, but let me start on this now. So this message we create here. See, some suggestions I gave you is like, let's first break it down. First is splits. Welcome message dot split by space. Okay, this will give us a list. This will give us a list of all of it. So now I have created some problem because of which there are this some new lines and all are appended. If you keep this in a straight line, this won't come, but I will also show you how to manage them. Okay, so let's do this. What we will do, this is one is the splits is available. The second thing will not work here till we do some kind of an operation on each of them. Let's keep it in a straight line. Okay, let's keep it in a straight line first. Then what will happen is, if we do this, it will give us a message like this. Now after that, we can do unique splits. For unique splits, what we can do is we can use sets. With sets, what will happen here is we will get all the unique values present. Okay, what happened here is we got all the unique values present here. Now with the unique values, we can do for word in unique splits. Let's first go one by one. We will do this, print this word. Okay, we see all of the words here. Now second is, we say welcome message or even split. You can go with anything now as you have it. So even like splits dot count word. Okay, let's do two prints. One is like a word and second is the count. So what we see is, now here we get to see this counts. Now let's do one more thing, is we can now create word count dictionary. This is how we define the dictionary in a blank way. Okay, when we say blank, like this is how the dictionary will look like. So this we define, and we can say, let's do word as a key and the value is this count. So when we run this, we have got this word counts. If we keep outside and run, see that we have got the whole, all the possible words with their counts. Okay, this is one way to do. Now there are multiple ways to do the same thing. Okay, this is just a one way. We can use also dictionary in itself. Directly we can use a dictionary to also do this kind of updates. This is a other longer way. There is also some shorter ways to do the same thing. Guys with me, any questions on this? Any questions? Are you able to get this? What happened here? Yeah, Arun, if questions, please let me know.
Yeah, no, nothing.
It's clear, right? You are able to get what is happening here?
Yeah.
Great, 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 Arun. Suyash, Arun, Aishwarya, you guys are clear?
Yeah, yeah, Rushan.
Great, guys.
Yeah, we are not able to achieve the output, but yeah, now understood.
You are not able to?
we were not able to get the output by ourselves, but now we understood what we
Yeah, you're
did
clear,
was
right?
about.
My
Yeah,
goal was to show like how all of the things that we've used, like we have learned to get all of this thing together. Like you can see how we can use split, sets, string methods, dictionaries, list, all of it combined together, even strings. Or we can just put all of these things together to create some interesting outcome. Okay, so with that, I think we can close the session. Yeah. So good work, guys. Thanks for how was the overall session? Like, was it useful? Suresh, Arun, Aishwarya?
Yeah, it was good,
yeah, it was good.
but little bit confusing for me. I just need to work on it.
Confusing means what part is confusing, right?
Like declaring that directories and other things.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll be putting this recording. So today recording is available for the session.
Yeah.
So I'll upload the same recording.
So because what
I'll
was confusing for me, sorry for the interrupt. I have
sure,
seen
sure.
the same thing. You have done it in a different way, but to be frank, I have some Google it on the way how to do it. They have did it
Yeah,
in the other way, like declaring the
absolutely.
directories and then splitting that words in the string format. Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
I
it's
said.
little bit like it's bit
Yes, I did
meeting.
in a bit
Yeah,
longer way, to be frank, to show you like all of these components. But as I said, same thing can be done in
yes,
a different ways. Only using
yep.
dictionary also, dictionary and list also, this can be achieved. We don't have to go with the list and set all of it. Simple approaches are also possible for this. Okay, cool, cool, guys. So great, guys. Then thank you very much. See you again in the next session then.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Have a good time.